The reunion snub that backfired. One grandma call ended their party. Prologue. The invitation that wasn't. Michael Thornton was a successful hedge fund manager from Manhattan. He had a penthouse overlooking Central Park, a Tesla parked in a private garage, and a wardrobe that cost more than most people's weddings. But none of that mattered on a humid Saturday morning in July when he opened his email and saw the subject line: Thornton Family Reunion Final Details. Except his name wasn't on the guests list. Neither was his wife's. Neither was his 10-year-old daughter's. He read the email 3 times. His younger brother, Ryan, the family's self-appointed event planner, had sent it to the entire Thornton clan, 43 people, spread across 8 states. Michael's immediate family was the only branch omitted. No explanation, no phone call, just a digital shove off the family tree. Michael picked up his phone. His thumb hovered over Ryan's name. Then he put it down. No, he thought. If they want to play this game, they'll learn who holds the real cards. Chapter 1. The Arrival That Shook the Porch. The reunion was held at the Thornton family's old lakeside estate in upstate New York, a sprawling 100-year-old property that had been in the family since 1922. White columns, wraparound porch, a dock that stretched into crystal clear water. It was the kind of place where memories were supposed to be made. Instead, it became a crime scene of humiliation. Michael, his wife Elena, and their daughter Sophia pulled up in a black Cadillac Escalade at exactly 2 p.m. They weren't invited, but they came anyway, because Michael Thornton had learned one thing in 20 years on Wall Street: you don't wait for permission. You take what's yours. Ryan spotted them first. His face went from welcoming to horrified in less than a second. "Mike," Ryan said, blocking the front steps, "what are you doing here?" "It's a family reunion," Michael said, smiling coldly. "I'm family." Ryan lowered his voice. "You didn't get the email? We had to cut the list. Budget reasons." Michael laughed, a short, sharp sound that made 2 cousins turn their heads. "Budget reasons? You just bought a $50,000 boat, Ryan, and you're telling me you couldn't afford 3 more plates?" Ryan's wife, Brenda, appeared behind him. Her arms were crossed, her lips were a thin line of disapproval. "Michael, this is exactly why you weren't included. You always have to make a scene." "A scene?" Alina stepped forward. Her voice was quiet but razor sharp. "You uninvited a 10-year-old girl from her own family reunion. What did you expect? A thank you card?" Brenda waved her hand dismissively. "Sophia can stay, but you 2 need to leave. This is for family." And that's when Michael felt it. The shift. The moment when polite resentment curdled into something colder. He looked past Ryan and Brenda and saw the rest of the family gathered on the porch. His own mother was sitting in a rocking chair, staring at her hands. His father was pretending to read a newspaper. No one stood up. No one said a word. They had all agreed to this. Michael nodded slowly. He put his hand on Sophia's shoulder. "Sweetheart, go play by the lake for 5 minutes. Daddy has to make a phone call." The phone call that froze the world. Michael walked to the far end of the driveway, away from the house, away from the judgmental stares. He pulled out his phone and scrolled to a contact labeled simply Gma. Not Grandma, not Nana. Gma. Because Eleanor, or Ella Thornton, was not your average grandmother. She was the widow of the late Charles Thornton, the man who had built a logistics empire worth $400 million. She controlled the Thornton Family Trust. She owned the lakeside estate outright, and she had a memory like a steel trap and a heart that could freeze hell over if you crossed her. The phone rang once. "Michael," her voice came through, clear as a bell. I was wondering when you'd call. I heard about the reunion. You heard? Michael's voice cracked. For the first time in years, he felt like a little boy again. They kicked us out, G-Ma. Me, Elena, and Sophia. Brenda said Sophia could stay, but we had to leave, like dogs. There was a pause. 3 seconds of absolute silence. Then Eleanor spoke. Her voice didn't rise, it didn't shake, it became quieter, which was far more terrifying. Stay exactly where you are, Michael. Don't leave that driveway. I'll handle this. She hung up. Michael stared at his phone. He had no idea what she was going to do, but he knew one thing. Eleanor Thornton had never lost a battle in her 78 years. Grandma's wrath, the call that ended everything. 4 minutes later, Ryan's phone rang. He looked at the screen. His face went white. "It's Grandma," he whispered to Brenda. "Answer it," Brenda hissed. "Don't let her hear any hesitation." Ryan answered. "Hi, Grandma. We're so glad you could—" "Ryan Michael Thornton," Eleanor interrupted. She never used middle names unless someone was in serious trouble. "Explain to me why my grandson and his family are standing in a driveway instead of eating barbecue on my porch." Ryan stammered. We had to make some cuts. A budget, you know. The catering costs." "The catering costs?" Eleanor repeated slowly. "Ryan, I own that house. I own that land. I pay the property taxes, the insurance, and the maintenance. You are a guest there. Do you understand?" Brenda grabbed the phone. "Eleanor, this was a group decision. Michael has been nothing but trouble since he moved to New York. He thinks he's better than all of us." Eleanor's laugh was dry as kindling. "Brenda, dear, do you know who paid for your daughter's braces last year? Michael did. Do you know who paid for Ryan's boat? He didn't. Charles Thornton Trust did, and I control that trust." Silence. "So here's what's going to happen," Eleanor continued. "In exactly 30 seconds, you are going to walk down that porch, apologize to Michael and his family, and invite them to sit at the head table. If you don't, I will make one more phone call to my lawyer, and by dinner time, every single one of you will be trespassing on property you no longer have permission to be on." Brenda's mouth opened and closed like a fish. "You wouldn't," Brenda whispered. "Try me," Eleanor said, and hung up. The freeze, when the party died. For 10 seconds, no one moved. Then Ryan walked down the porch steps. His face was the color of spoiled milk. He approached Michael with the look of a man marching to his own execution. "Mike," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "I'm sorry. We were wrong. Please, come inside. You and Elena and Sophia, you sit at the head table." Michael didn't move. He looked past Ryan at the rest of the family, the aunts who had gossiped, the uncles who had looked away, the cousins who had laughed at the group chat. "No," Michael said quietly. Ryan blinked. "What?" "I said no." Michael's voice grew stronger. "You didn't want us here. You made that clear. Now you want us here because Grandma threatened to take your house away. That's not an apology. That's a hostage situation." He turned to Elena. "Get Sophia. We're leaving." Elena nodded. She walked to the lake, took Sophia's hand, and led her back to the Escalade. The little girl looked confused, but didn't cry. She was a Thornton. Thorntons didn't cry in front of enemies. Ryan grabbed Michael's arm. "Please, if you leave, Grandma will—" "Grandma will do what she wants," Michael said, shaking him off. "But I'm not your prop. I'm not your scapegoat, and I'm not going to pretend today didn't happen." He got in the car. The engine started, and as the Escalade pulled away, Michael looked in the rearview mirror and watched the Thornton family reunion dissolve into chaos. The aftermath. Grandma's final lesson. The call came 45 minutes later. Michael was halfway back to Manhattan when his phone buzzed. "Michael," Eleanor said, "I'm proud of you." "For leaving?" "For dignity." She paused. "I've already called my lawyer. The estate is going up for sale next week. No more family reunions, no more petty power plays. If they want to act like strangers, they can find their own place together." Michael's breath caught. "Gee, Ma, that house has been in the family for 100 years. And for 100 years, it's been used as a weapon. Not anymore. I'm donating the proceeds to a children's hospital in your name." Michael felt tears prick his eyes. "I don't know what to say." "Say you'll come visit me next weekend. Just you, Elena, and Sophia. We'll order pizza and watch old movies. That's family, Michael, not barbecues on borrowed land." He laughed, a real laugh, warm and wet. "We'll be there." "Good." And then Eleanor added, almost as an afterthought, "Oh, and Michael, Ryan called me 7 times in the last hour. I didn't answer. Some lessons need to be learned the hard way." She hung up. Michael looked at Elena. She was smiling. Sophia was already asleep in the back seat, clutching a stuffed rabbit. "What did Grandma say?" Elena asked. Michael put the car in drive. She said, "We're free." Epilogue. 1 year later. The Lakeside estate sold for $3.2 million. The Children's Hospital built a new wing. The Thornton family never held another reunion. Ryan and Brenda divorced within 6 months. The pressure of losing the family estate and the social standing that came with it proved too much. Most of the cousins stopped speaking to each other. The group chat went silent. But every Sunday, Michael, Elena, and Sophia drove 45 minutes to a small cottage in the Hudson Valley, where Eleanor Thornton lived surrounded by rose bushes and old photographs. They ate pizza. They watched The Princess Bride. They laughed until their stomachs hurt. And on Sophia's 11th birthday, Eleanor gave her a small wooden box. Inside was the original deed to the Lakeside estate, the one from 1922. "This is yours now," Eleanor said. "Not the land, the memory. Never let anyone tell you that you don't belong." Sophia hugged her great-grandmother so tight that Eleanor pretended to cough. "Gima," Sophia whispered, "you're my hero." Eleanor kissed her forehead. "No, sweetheart. I'm just a grandmother who knows how to make a phone call." The lesson. Sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't money, status, or revenge. It's a single phone call to the one person who loves you without conditions, the one person who will burn down the whole party just to keep you warm. Eleanor Thornton didn't end the reunion with a scream. She ended it with a whisper, and that whisper froze 43 people in their tracks. Never underestimate a grandmother's phone call, because when she dials, the whole world listens.